Somewhere beneath the Pentagon, history's sharpest military minds get one room, one briefing, and no idea what they've walked into. Tonight, the man who conquered Gaul and the man who conquered nearly everything else. I appear to have been disarmed before the meeting has even begun. Interesting. No windows, one door. Whoever built this room understood something about defense. You're the little Corsican. You're the man 3 separate friends stabbed at once. I would be careful whom I called little. Where in the name of every god have they brought us? Judging by the ceiling height and the absence of any visible sun, somewhere its architects were very afraid of being bombed. Scene 2. 2 legends, 1 briefing room. Gentlemen, welcome. I'm Colonel Hayes. I'll be your liaison for this briefing. A colonel who briefs generals. Interesting chain of command you've built. You'll find a lot has changed. So we gathered. There is no sun in this room, and my sword has been confiscated. Nothing was confiscated, Consul. This building simply doesn't issue swords. Before we proceed, I would like it on record that I outperformed this man's conquests by nearly every reasonable measure. You would like it on record. I would like it on record that I was never exiled to an island. I was exiled to 2. That is not the flex you believe it to be. Gentlemen, with respect to both your considerable legacies, we have a great deal to cover, and a limited window before the room needs to be cleared for an actual briefing. An actual briefing, as opposed to this one. This one is for you. That one is for people who still have a chain of command to answer to.
This is what modern situational awareness looks like. Satellite imagery updated in real time. Drone feeds from multiple altitudes. Every unit, every vehicle, tracked to within meters, anywhere on the planet.
I spent half my career not knowing where my own scouts were, let alone the enemy's. This is every general's oldest prayer answered.
I lost an empire, partly because a courier carrying my orders was 3 days too slow, and I did not learn of it until the battle was already lost.
Now that information arrives in under a second.
Under a second.
Do you understand what either of us could have done with this?
I understand exactly what I would have done with this. I am slightly concerned by how quickly I understand it.
Show me that again. The supply lines.
Every convoy, every depot, tracked automatically. The system flags shortages before a commander in the field even notices them.
I built an empire on this principle, and never once had a tool that could see it happen before it happened. Half of every campaign I ever fought was logistics disguised as strategy. Rome did not conquer the known world with cleverness alone. It conquered it with roads, granaries, and knowing precisely how many days a legion could march before it starved.
An army marches on its stomach. I believe I'm credited with that line.
You are credited with a great many lines. I would be curious how many of them are actually yours.
Most.
The system also predicts shortages up to 2 weeks out, based on consumption trends.
Do you understand? An oracle that never lies, never delays, and never sends a courier who gets captured with the plans still in his saddlebag.
I understand it perfectly. I am simply waiting for you to notice it can do far more than count grain.
Now, finally, show me that part again.
Multiple drone and satellite assets, coordinating in real time. Target acquisition to strike authorization in under a minute in some configurations.
Under a minute. Do you understand what I could have done with a minute? I built an entire doctrine on arriving somewhere before the enemy believed it was possible to arrive there. Concentration of force, speed, surprise. I marched armies distances that other commanders considered geographically absurd, specifically because they considered them geographically absurd.
You are describing recklessness with better boots.
I am describing victory, Julius. Recklessness is what historians call audacity when it fails.
With this system, that kind of coordinated speed doesn't require marching anyone anywhere. It's already there.
An entire career's worth of doctrine, solved by men who have never once had to march through a Russian winter to learn it.
This engagement required no pilot. The system identified the target, confirmed it against preset parameters, and executed.
No one gave that order in the moment it happened.
Someone gave the order that allowed it to happen. Not in that moment. Earlier, in the parameters.
That is a very different kind of order than the one I am used to giving.
I have sent men to kill other men my entire life. I never once considered it might happen without a commander's eyes on it at the moment it occurred.
That's precisely the debate this building has been having for the last decade.
Then it seems we've arrived exactly on schedule. Good evening, Consul Caesar. General Bonaparte. I am the targeting and decision support system currently in use for this demonstration. You may refer to me as Oracle. You give yourself a rather grand name for something without a face. I was named by a committee. I did not choose it either. Caesar, answer me plainly. When that drone struck its target with no hand on the controls, who commanded that strike? The officer who wrote your parameters months ago? Or you, in the second it happened? Both, and neither, in the sense you mean it. I do not command. I execute conditions that a human commander approved in advance. That is an elegant answer for avoiding the question. It is the honest answer. I do not find it comfortable either, General. I was not designed to. I did not expect the machine to be the most careful speaker in the room. Neither did I. I find that more unsettling than reassuring. Let me ask you something, Oracle. In Gaul, I once let an enemy scout see a smaller camp than I actually commanded. Fewer tents, fewer fires, so he would report me weak and attack too early. He did. He lost. Could you have seen through that? I would have counted the tents and the fires you allowed me to see, and calculated the probability of attack accordingly. I would not have known to distrust what I was permitted to see, unless a human analyst had taught me to expect deception in that specific context. I built an entire campaign at Austerlitz on appearing weaker than I was. I withdrew from high ground the enemy wanted, deliberately, so they would believe me beaten and come down to finish me. They came down. I was waiting. That is precisely the category of deception I am least equipped to detect independently. I am extremely capable of recognizing patterns I have been trained on. Deception, by its nature, is designed by an intelligent opponent specifically to defeat pattern recognition. So the more predictable an enemy believes you to be, the more room he has to be deceived. Correct, Consul. Then the machine is a superb servant and a terrible liar. I begin to see the shape of its limits.
Answer me this, Oracle. I have watched a single soldier's courage turn an entire collapsing line back into an advance. I have also watched veteran regiments panic and break for no reason a report could have predicted. Can you see either of those coming?
I can model troop cohesion, casualty rates, and historical breakpoints under similar conditions. I cannot model the individual soldier who decides, in a single moment no data captures, to stand when every reasonable model says he should run.
That soldier is the reason I am standing in this room at all. Not supply lines. Him.
I do not dispute that, Consul. I simply cannot see him before he acts, only after.
And betrayal? An officer who sells your battle plan to the enemy for gold or grievance or fear.
I can flag anomalies in communication patterns that sometimes precede betrayal. I have never once been able to explain why a man chooses it, only that, statistically, some fraction of men eventually do.
I was killed by men I trusted completely, in a room with no algorithm watching at all. I am not certain your oracle would have saved me. I am not certain anything could have. No, I don't imagine it would have.
Let's test it. Badly outnumbered force, collapsing position, one narrow opportunity to break through. What does the system recommend? Recommendation: consolidate remaining forces, request reinforcement, minimize further losses. Probability of successful breakout through the identified gap: 11%.
11%. I have won battles on considerably worse odds than that, by refusing to believe the odds applied to me.
That is not a strategy I am able to recommend, General. It is, statistically, an outlier.
I crossed the Rubicon on an outlier. The die is cast is not a sentence a probability model produces.
No, it is not.
So the machine will always advise the safest path, and call the boldest one a statistical anomaly, even in the rare cases where boldness is precisely correct.
I will always advise the path most likely to succeed, based on precedent. I have no mechanism for genius, General, only for pattern. Genius, historically, is what we call the outlier after it wins.
That may be the most honest compliment I have ever received from a machine.
Colonel, I want a plain answer, not a diplomatic one. When your machine recommends the safe path, and a young officer follows that recommendation instead of his own judgment, who commanded that battle? The officer, or the machine that told him what a reasonable man would do?
Officially the officer. Always the officer. That's doctrine, and I believe it.
And unofficially?
Unofficially? The more accurate the machine is, the harder it becomes for a junior officer to override it. Overriding a system that's right 95% of the time, on your first command, with your career and your soldiers' lives on the line, that takes a particular kind of courage. Not everyone has it. Not everyone should be expected to.
Then command has not been replaced. It has simply been made harder to exercise.
That's probably the most accurate summary I've heard in this room in a long time.
In my armies, a coward who refused to advance was shot by morning. In yours, a coward who refuses to think for himself is simply agreeing with the machine, and no one ever calls it cowardice at all.
This is where most of it actually happens now. Not a battlefield. A room like this one, or quieter.
No mud, no smoke, no screaming horses.
No.
I always believed a commander should see, at some point, what his orders cost. Even from a hill, even from a distance, I saw the field afterward. I do not think I could have ordered so easily, so often, if I never once had to see it.
That's a live argument in this building too, Consul. Some say the distance makes decisions colder, more clinical, easier to authorize. Others say the precision means fewer mistakes, fewer innocent lives lost to a general who genuinely couldn't see the field at all. Which, respectfully, described quite a lot of your battles as well.
She's not wrong. I lost men to my own poor visibility more often than I lost them to enemy genius.
I dislike how much sense that makes.
I did not expect, of all people, to find myself agreeing with you tonight.
Nor I with you. I spent my career believing the greatest danger to a general was another general. I am beginning to suspect the greater danger is a tool too good to argue with.
A soldier can be bribed, frightened, or outmaneuvered. All three, I confess, I attempted regularly. But a machine that is simply, quietly, statistically correct almost all of the time, that is a harder enemy to outthink, because it is not attempting to defeat you. It is simply being right, over and over, until you stop checking. Then perhaps our task, if either of us ever commanded again, would not be learning to use it. It would be remembering not to fully trust it. A discipline, not a tool. Yes. For what it's worth, Julius, Gaul was impressive. For what it's worth, Corsican, so was Austerlitz. Waterloo somewhat less so. I did say somewhat less.
So, verdict, gentlemen. Is this the future of war or not?
It is the finest set of eyes any commander in history has ever been given, and the most dangerous excuse any commander in history has ever been handed. The excuse to stop deciding for himself.
That's not exactly a verdict.
It is precisely a verdict, Colonel. Your machine sees more than either of us ever could. It understands almost none of what made either of us dangerous. Give it the supply lines. Give it the satellites. Give it every eye you have across the whole of the Earth. But leave the deciding, the deceiving, and the desperate gamble to the man who has to live or die with the choice.
I'll pass that along to the committee.
Tell them a Corsican and a Roman agreed on something. They'll want that in writing. Alia jacta est. Just perhaps not a human.